Hey guys, and welcome back to episode 31 of Front Boards and Four Baggers. I'm Eddie with Cornhole Bag Reviews. We got Corbin with Corbin's Cornhole Reviews, and two special guests here today. We got the commissioner of the MLC, Tyler Scott, and the owner of one of the new franchises in Philadelphia, Zeb Campagna. Thanks for joining us today, guys.
Absolutely. Thank you for having us.
Yep, thanks.
So we're going to talk a little bit. Obviously, the MLC is a new cornhole league coming into the space. I know from conversations you've had on previous podcasts, it's not necessarily trying to directly compete with the ACL or ACO. It has a completely different kind of format, different kind of franchising system, somewhat team-based like what we're starting to see with the ACL teams, but kind of going in a separate direction. And I think a lot of people are very interested to find out a lot more information about, where this is currently, where it's going, how it's going to start, where the players are going to come from. There's so many questions we're going to get into. So let's just start a little bit with the backstory of, where did the idea of MLC come from? What is the inspiration or reason that you wanted to start another league?
Yeah, so, the inspiration comes from wanting to do better in the sport, right? To see an opportunity, not for personal gain, but for the sport itself to grow. And I think that's where it got inspired. When I was the national tournament director for the ACA, we did a lot of great work with a lot of great organizations. And one of the conversations that got up was, how do we incorporate teams, right? So I developed a set of team rules that spiraled into an idea. And unfortunately, I couldn't it wasn't the path of the ACA to get into the professional market. So that was kind of the reason for our divide. Because they do great work, right? They work with a lot of great organizations, but they want to stay on the amateur realm. They want to stay with amateur products, with good quality product, and then they want to stay with that kind of market. They didn't want to go in and so-called compete with the ACL or ACR or anything like that. And I believed in what we were doing, what I was doing, and I decided to break off with a couple of partners and do that route. And obviously we are where we are, so it's somewhat successful so far. But the inspiration basically is to take the aspect of team sports like the NFL, the NBA, the NHL, and apply it to cornhole. Very similar to what Major League Pickleball did. They took a singles and doubles sport, singles pickleball, doubles pickleball, put it in a match setting, and then create more entertainment for the spectators. Not just the cornhole enthusiasts, but anybody who can show up and say, wow, this was fun. I had a great time. And have, people like Zeb who put on amazing stuff, have foam fingers and cool phrases and just a great time. That's what it's about, bringing communities together. And so that's really the gist and the inspiration of the league.
Sure. So, that goes through kind of all my backstory questions. You kind of hit this. So let's go into a little bit.
Read ahead, I know.
Yeah, right. I'm the same way. I'm just like, all right, might as well just run through all of them. But you touched a little bit on the format, so I think that's probably one of the most interesting points to start off with, because it's not like, you're a singles player or doubles player, your traditional double elimination bracket, traditional pool play kind of thing, tournament with prize money at the end or whatever it is. This is a team-based, from what I've seen, 7-on-7 because of the 2 doubles teams and 3 singles teams format. So can you kind of go into the format of what a team-on-team match would look like through the course of that match? Absolutely.
So without trying to explain it, roll by roll, we have a lot of graphics out there. We have a website that talks about it. If you're willing to read enough, if you're willing to go down a couple pages and look at the graphics, basically you needed to incorporate doubles and singles. Right. And we both know, and everybody should know that, I'm sorry, my mustache keeps going into my nose and it tickles my nose. I'm sorry. I need to trim a little. Everybody here, except for Eddie's got a beard. And actually, if you look at the camera, it actually escalates more. It's like Taylor, it's like Eddie and then Tyler and then Corbin's almost, and it's Zeb just boom. Is out there. You see is
mine's very clean up.
That's it. His teeth just pop out of like a hair ball.
Everyone always asks me if my teeth are real. It's weird.
They're very real. Very real. But no, so basically you need to somehow incorporate both a doubles player, because it is a different aspect, working in a team, and then I can't help it. And then also a singles player, because, being a singles player is difficult. You got to switch which side of the board you're throwing on. You got to readjust yourself in that 4 shot. You've got to, which could adjust your play, whether you're a slider or a blocker or pusher or whatever you do. And it creates more strategy long-term versus a one-on-one opponent. So I know that, when you talk about the format, we added the airmail shootout as well, right? Bringing that really fun aspect of it to kind of end the game in a series of back and forth shots to try and get to 21 match points. But the whole game and the whole match is designed for an escalation of tension. So you got to watch game one. You got to watch the doubles game because it's who's going to get that first point. It's who's going to get 2 points in the match. Then it's going to be 3 points and 4 points. And obviously you want your big players coming out at the end, who are your big singles players who are really talented, your one-on-one, 1v1s, and then to try and sum up that last 6 points before you go in the airmail shootout. The whole point is to have an escalation of tension that doesn't end until the airmail shootout ends. So it's not like tennis, right? If it's a best of 5 and Roger Federer beats Djokovic, the first 3 sets, then it's over. But not in this scenario. In this scenario, it's an escalation of tension. I keep saying that because we want people to be excited. We want people to be there. Just like 4 quarters in football, even if it's 42-0 in the 4th quarter, some people might be leaving, but there is a chance. If it's 36-0 at half, like the Vikings experience this year versus Indianapolis Colts, doesn't mean it's over, right? It just means that you have a bigger hill to climb, and it's not impossible. The other team could miss all their shots in the airmail, and you could just go in there and kill it. There's a lot of different things where you could see big comebacks and different versions of the game that make it exciting. And so we're bringing an exciting aspect to it that I don't believe is there with tournaments and tournament-based operations.
So from another perspective too, as a question. So from a viewing perspective, so obviously if you guys don't know the format, you can see it on the website. First match is doubles worth 1 point. Second match is doubles worth 2 points, and then it's
it's 2 points, then 3 points, then
2 points first.
Yeah, 2 points
two,
first.
3, 4, 5, 6.
Yep.
Okay, so doubles, and it's doubles, and then 3 singles.
Correct.
Okay, so. From a viewing perspective, those first couple matches, obviously from a team, if you're on the team and you're competing, obviously 2 and 3 points matter, like going to the end of the game. But from a viewing perspective, what would make you want to watch that first game versus watching the last 2? When you're I get the escalation of tension, but wouldn't you just tune in all right, it's 7-7, now we'll just watch match 4 or 5 rather than watching the beginning?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, what makes you want to watch is the environment, right? If you're in person, you're there. The beer, right? I guess that's the right answer,
sure.
Eddie. Woo, we're excited. The I say the escalation tension, but the excitement. You could ask the same question of why watch the first half of football when you can watch the second half. Sure. Why watch the first half of basketball if you could watch the second half or just see what the score is? It's because it's fun. Everybody wants to see the doubles games, right? Some people prefer doubles rather than singles. So you want to watch everything because it's going to be exciting all the way through. And yes, we're going to let you buy foam fingers and scream at these events. So if Zeb will be leading the crowd wave himself, right, I don't sell to anybody but hype men. So he's just going to be killing it.
So that leads into my other question then too, which is, so usually from a viewership standpoint, at least from what we've seen historically, doubles is more popular to watch than singles. Usually doubles is on as the primetime kind of television from the ACO and ACL perspective in tournaments or what we've been used to. What was the thought or choice that went into making singles your last 3 or the primetime kind of things and not doubles? Because wouldn't you want more the tension of cheering for 2 teammates or that kind of energy that they have together as the primetime? Or I'm curious where that thought process came from.
Yeah, and it's not an easy thing creating a new set of rules, right? There's positives and cons. There's pros and cons to everything. But in this scenario, I guess we were looking for that tension, right? That tension when you come out there and your team needs this 6 points. You need it, and you've got to play your best game. You got to be perfect. And, it's not a doubles. It's not me and you got it. Me and Eddie got it. It's Corbin's got this. Corbin represents the team. Everybody's looking at you. So I think to have that best overall player versus their best overall player in the last moment before you go in the airmail shooter for 6 match points, which is hefty in this match setting, that's I think it's what creates the excitement, creates that tension that we're looking for rather than the opposite. Because like I said before, your best overall player is typically a singles player, right? Overall, like the ability to do all these shots. So why would you have if you have your prime time moment for doubles and they're only good at shooting on the right side of the board, only good at shooting the left, then your best overall player misses that prime time spot every time. And they might, in a way, sandbag themselves or focus on only one side of the board to get on a doubles team, and then if you flip it, then people are aspiring to be that singles player. They're aspiring to be in that prime time spot, which I think is going to work for us. But if not, the league will change its rules, and then maybe next year we should have we listened to Eddie. We should have listened to Eddie in the beginning. We should have flipped it, but who knows?
And it's not just me. I just gotta be the devil's advocate to make sure we get all the answers. That's all.
No, yeah, and it's a good question. It's a good answer because I've never been asked that. But yeah, trust me. When we went through the rules, and I mean me and the MLC, when we went through the rules, we took it and we were like, all right, are we sure? And you only get one shot to come out with rules. So you go in, you bring other people, you compete. You see what takes up time. You see what works in practicality on paper and what actually works in person. You see what the timelines look like. You see if, because originally I'll say that our airmail shootout was one bag. The bags only counted if they went in the hole. But what you realize is on a club level, you might have some people who miss the board entirely. All the time, you're just watching people go back and forth missing, and that's not fun. So, but a lot of people will at least hit the airmail board itself and be on the hole. So you present one match point for on the board, on the airmail board, and then 2 match points in the hole. So now you're creating a little bit more escalation, quicker way to score points.
And when you're saying airmail board, are you talking like bomb box?
Yeah, like a bomb box.
Okay.
Correct.
And then I got the last question. So a lot of these questions that are going to come up too, the way I'm trying to wrap my brain about this is thinking about it like an NFL team or an NBA team, right? Is the way that I'm trying to picture this. So when you're talking about like locations of games or matches that are going to be completed, right? There's 2 different options. Like esports is like, everyone shows up at a venue and like, let's say Philadelphia hosts all 5 matches. So when, as a fan, you come to Philadelphia, you get to see, every team is there, and then each place owns a match day. Or is it going to be, we go to an away game and it's just that one match at that arena? Like, what's the goal for the locations?
So to get the most to your community, right, you want to offer flexibility. Because right in the very beginning, I said that this whole concept is to bring communities together. And the only way to do that is to be involved in the community on a regular basis throughout the season. And you also want to provide a way for sponsors, regional sponsors like for Zeb and the companies that sponsor his team, to get more than just one big event out of the year, right? You want to bring it to the community several times. You want to make it a pattern. Like, you want to get season tickets. You want to do that aspect. So we very much do. In season 1, there'll be 7 home events for every team. Season 2, there'll be 9 home events for every team. And then you have your combine events that are in your community. And this brings that community aspect together. It brings the seats on, it brings the tickets, it brings the people who want to get involved in like having a good Saturday out or at Live Casino in Philadelphia who just want to have a good time. And they might not be able to make one Saturday, doesn't mean they can't make the other one.
So by home event,
to bring the community together.
Yeah. Sorry to interrupt. Do you mean one singular match? Like one team is going to come to your home, like a
one
home
team?
Okay.
So I know we just launched the other day, and I think we're announcing another one tonight or tomorrow. They're all signed. All of our teams are signed. We're just announcing them, a little bit by a bit. But for like the Kansas Airmen that we already announced, they would come into Philly or vice versa, and then they would go in and play each other in a match-on-match setting, or team-on-team setting in one match. Now, for our championship event, I'm looking at Zeb here. I don't know. Do we tell him the name of our championship event?
I think we should wait.
All right. Oh, see, this is why I bring him on, because he reserves me. He tells me no, yes or no. For our championship event, it is actually a big invitational. So all of our qualifying teams to the playoffs will go to that invitational. Year 1, there's not enough teams to really divide it out. So everybody's invited, and how they ranked throughout their season record will be how they seed in the invitational for the championship.
Right. And is there, I know there's 8 teams. Is there going to be 2 divisions of 4? Is it just 1 division of 8? Like not doing divisions yet because there's not enough teams?
So some legalities and some issues with contracts happened for 2 of the teams. So we had to postpone 2 of the teams into 2024. So we're actually launching season 1 with 6 teams.
6 teams.
So it's not quite ideal, right? Like I mentioned in the past, which is why I was hesitant to announce a lot of people in the past, because things like this happen. But we feel all of the 6 teams are set in stone for season 1. So we are where we are. But yeah, so they will all play each other throughout the season. The schedule is already set, and we start May 6th, 2023. Once you have this stuff, they have a 14-week season. At that 14-week season, at the end of that season, which ends August 5th, whatever their ranking is, or however they did in the season, will be their first seed, second seed, and then in first and second seed will have buys in the invitational, the championship invitational. 4th and 5th will play each other. 3rd and 6th will play each other in the first round of the championship. So.
Right. All right, cool. So you mentioned this for a half second. Let's get into it, because a lot of people have been asking me about this, which is the combine system. So how the players, or how the teams are going to be able to kind of see the prospects that they'll have in the area, or maybe from out of area. How I know you were still like waiting to not release the details of how this is going to work, but how are the combine system going to work? Like, how's a player going to figure out how to get on a team or try out?
Well, every team hosts their own combine. So for the example, I would let Zeb answer this, and
Sure.
We're still planning it out. Like, we still have like the exact details, and I believe Philadelphia should be able to announce their plans for it in the next couple weeks. But Zeb, what's your thoughts on how you're going to get the best players from Philly out there?
I'm just worried that the 14 people that probably liked what we were doing fell off the map after all that discussion. No.
Oop, Tyler froze on me.
Oh, did I freeze?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I thought it was an awkward silence.
Oh.
No, no, Zeb, how are you? I was like, was that an awkward silence? I was like, Zeb,
I was like, I know you're trying to say something. You're completely frozen, so we're just gonna wait it out.
Am I still frozen?
No, you're good now. Good now.
Oh, I was like, oh my goodness. I know had that happen before. No, so basically what's going to happen is they're going to host a 2-day event in Philadelphia and at Live Casino. And then they're going to recruit. They're going to assess you on your skills on the left side of the board, the right side of the board. Then they're going to put you in a round robin event together against other people who are in your skill level relatively. And they're going to see how you fall on the point system. We do have a point system. So whether you make a platinum level, gold level skill and whatnot. And then we're not exactly looking for the best overall scores, right? Zeb and his team might be looking for airmails, right? They might want to see a stellar airmail shot. They might have a strategy for block and push. Personally, I don't think Zeb's good enough at cornhole to judge that, but hey, that's just me. Every time I go to Philly, I have to show him how we in Ohio do it. But he's gonna laugh. But I don't know if I'm frozen. I can't even tell if he's smiling.
You're good.
The beard is so big, it's covering up the smile now. But yeah, no, I mean,
I'm just waiting for you to finish.
I never stop. So please, I don't stop talking. Just interrupt me, please.
Well, Zeb, let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question then real quick. So if your team's based in Philly, so for your combine and for the players, are all the players going to need to be local to Philly? Is it going to just be within a driving distance? And same thing with from an NFL team perspective, is there going to be like a practice per se, or you get together so they need to be somewhat local to compete? Or how is that going to work from a player recruitment perspective?
Yeah, first off, full disclosure. If anyone is wearing a foam finger at my event, they will be escorted out. Okay, that's number one. That's first and foremost. There's no foam fingers at my games. And number two, so this is an ever developing new sport we're doing. So it's fluid. So listen, like he said about the games, doubles, and next year it may change. But time will tell, and, we're taking it slow. But to your question about the combine, yeah, I don't really care where they come from. I just want studs. Philly's a bunch of winners, and we want to win. So we'll recruit from wherever. And they're going to want to play here because it's going to be a party.
So do they need to be able to be there, be local to like do things during the week, or is it going to be like, doesn't matter where they're from, you're going to fly to your games anyway? Or what's kind of the goal then from like regional, like do you want them within a couple hours perspective or out east, or what are you looking for?
They could live in California. If they're a stud, we'll make sure they get here to practice and everything. That's the one thing about what we're doing is that, these players are going to be paid. If they're good at what they do, and we'll find out. This is very serious for us. We take, Tyler, the commissioner, got us to this point. We're here now. And we're going to make some noise. We're going to have a lot of fun doing it. You were talking about why would people tune in to watch us. They're going to watch because it's going to be, you have to look, it's not even a sports company as much as it is an entertainment company. So just like what the Sixers do around here, look, we love what all the Philly teams do. So we can pick and choose and talk to them and see what they do best. But at the end of the day, this is a professional sport and it's going to be treated as such. Just like you were saying, you were spot on. The NFL, the NBA, that's our model.
So then coming from, obviously like the top players in the world currently are playing in the ACL. There's a good amount of great players in the ACL. And then there's a lot of good players that don't play in either currently.
There's a lot of great players that don't play.
Correct. So then is the talent pool that you're pulling from, are you trying to pull from just players that aren't in anything yet? Are you trying to entice players that maybe already have something to come join this? Like what's the goal from there?
Yeah, we don't want to entice anyone from what they're doing. If they're doing what they're doing and they're making it work, God bless them. There's enough talent to go around for all of us to be fruitful. So, what the ACL does is what the ACL does. They do it well. And, to us, we continue down our lane, which is growing a professional sport that's going to do really big things, just not in the game itself, to bring light to it. Communities, like he said, I don't need to get into all of it, but we have a vision, me and my partner. I have a partner, best friend, very buttoned up individual. And, we're here to, normally I was a 4-for-4 guy in Philly. I'm a 5-for-5 guy now because we're a new franchise in the city. So we're excited, and everyone who comes out to see us is going to see that it's going to be a party.
So then obviously with the format, with the 2 doubles, 3 singles, that's 7 players as the starting roster. How big is the roster going to be from the start of the year? Is it going to be a bunch of players, just 7 straight? Is it going to be some reserve? Like, what does that look like?
Yeah, I probably would want like 30 or 40 players on the team. No, I'm just kidding.
Right. Hold on. He's like, everybody in Philly is getting signed, and if I call you, you come. Like, that's it.
So like I said, it's fluid, right, guys? I mean, we would say 7's going to work this year. Maybe 5 might work next year. 8 might work next year. But, listen, we're here. This is a long-term thing. This isn't, we need to build huge relationships today. This is, let's work together, build up, and that's what we're going to do. We've been doing it from the minute Tyler approached me with his partners. Jason, which is a big stay with him for sure. They do a lot of great stuff together. I was all in. He just had to say, hey, we have an idea. And I said, I'm in. And from right there, we got to work. We're developing, I just landed a nice long-term contract with Live Casino. That says a lot. That says that they believe in our mission and our vision. And that's important. I always tell, like I told my wife, if you don't believe in me, that's fine. But there's a lot of people out there who are a lot smarter than me that think it's going to work. And that's all I have to say.
So from Tyler, I guess from a franchising perspective, let's go into the actual franchising, because this is different than anything that's ever been done in the sport. So I know a lot of people have maybe said, like I've seen some stuff floated around Facebook, or I've gotten some messages from people that have thrown around the number, or the eye-opening number of the $100K franchise cost, right, for a team to get in the league. So how is that number determined, and what is obtained from paying that? Is it just money to help the league get started? Is it just owning the rights? I know, I've heard you talk about the pickleball thing, about how it started at $100K. Now they're at $1 million.
I'll answer this, Tyler, if you don't mind.
Zeb's like, hold my beer.
Sure, go ahead.
Listen, the $100,000 says we're serious. This isn't a backyard game. It's I have been having fun for years, but $100,000 say, this is serious. We're here to play. And the owners that have been involved so far, we're all here to play. This is serious. This isn't, let's come see if it works, guys. Hey, may work, may not. It's going to work. And we're all aware of what's in front of us, and we love a challenge. So we're excited. We're going to be here for years and years to come. And, the $100,000 goes to pay for Tyler. He doesn't work for free. Just like you don't work, I don't work for free. I definitely don't work. My partner definitely don't work for free. Tyler will great. Dominic, I love him. He ain't getting out of bed unless he's making money. So I know he's buttoned up individual, and we have we just we're in the process of finishing up some fine details with a big PR firm out of North Carolina to start handling all of our social media. And the $100,000 you said goes to pay salaries, goes to pay website designer, goes to pay everything you need to start a real company. And if he wasn't going to do that, I'd have been out a long time ago. I knew that when I came on here, they didn't have any money. That's okay. Doesn't mean
hold on now. Hold on now.
Well, what I listen. I'm not. Listen,
he said
when I'm talking about money,
Tyler.
Yeah, no, but listen. When you talk about money, starting something like this, people want to know who you're dealing with, and Tyler was upfront and honest from the beginning, and that's what I respect. I don't need someone to say they have millions of dollars in reserves for me to want to believe in something. And someone told me, and this sticks with me every day. He said, "Do you believe in this?" And I said, "Absolutely." And he said, "Well, what the fuck are we talking about?" Because guess what? At the end of the day, if you believe in it and we believe in it, good things are going to come.
Sure. So then in the I think I got this question from someone in the future that was like, if another team wants to get in, obviously you guys are full this year, which is congrats. I'm glad that worked out. You guys got filled in. But I think some people were just curious on, other than, we were just wondering, does the 100K go to the MLC as a company? How is the teams expecting to make that money back from an investment? If a team's looking to get in next year, what should they be expecting on that front, other than to just be a part of, the idea and believing in the idea from an investment standpoint? What is that money going towards, and how can they expect to, then work towards that in the future?
Yeah. So the money, there's a lot of legalities when you look at franchise law, right? And when you mentioned earlier, what we did has not ever been done in this sport, but any sport ever is very true and accurate. The franchise unlike the membership type concept that the NFL and NBA do, this is a franchise or franchise fee, franchisee type system. This is a parent company, daughter company. Zeb Campagna and his partner Dominic own a company that is under the MLC company, which means if another league pops up, Zeb cannot take the Philadelphia Bell Ringers and just stop paying fees with us and then just go over. That's not possible. It's not legal. So what we've done is we created stability. What your franchise fee goes for is the company itself. You're going for one, it allows us to market for you. Putting a team up is not cheap. Building your system, building your website, I have a full staff that works for us, right? That supports Zeb. We have directors of products, we have marketing, we have sales, we have finance. That costs, right? Even if we are doing the best we can, in every aspect of it, there is certain things that we can go for and do for the company. This isn't just for, this isn't Tyler Scott gets a Corvette, which are $100,000. That's not what it is. Trust me. I wouldn't even buy a Corvette even if I could. There would be not just immoral, but a lot of problems with that. The franchise fee, like all franchise fees, if you buy a McDonald's or a Taco Bell, it goes to you as a company to get you help set up. Everything else that you spend if you buy a Taco Bell is you got to pay for the construction. You got to pay for your permits. You got to pay for your initial uniforms for your workers, just like Zeb. He has to do his own contracts with his venues. He's got to sign his own players. He's got to have his own things.
Yeah, we know that wasn't cheap.
That's not all right. And then he's throwing out T-shirts at the live casino opening their big event. But we are there to support him in every way we do it, and then we bring them all together. So what your $100,000 says is that, one, you are here to play. Two, you've got stake in this game. And three, I can now support you better. For example, if you get free college, you probably don't respect it much. But if you pay for college, you feel confident in your major. It's an investment in yourself. If you pay $100,000, whether you're a multi-millionaire or own it from your 401k, you're invested in this. This is now a business. If you go and I just sign stuff away for, hey man, this is for free, come help us out on a team. How do I know that you're going to put any investment into the company at all? How do I know that you even believe in this? Right? This is for the select few, especially season one, the select team owners that say, listen, I want to do something that's never been done before, especially Zeb Campagna, who was the first team he put his face through and without through the glass and said, I want to be Zeb is my witness, and Zeb did this to me back in December when we were officially signing contracts, like after months of work. He goes, Tyler, you better not sign another team but me first. I swear I better be the first team. While other team owners are going, hey, man, I don't know if I buy in and you don't get the other teams, what's going to happen to me? Zeb goes, no, I want to be first. I want to set the tone. And these are the types of people that we brought together all across the United States that's going to allow this company to go big. And this is amazing.
Yeah, you're spot on, but you didn't do this.
I didn't do this. Yeah, that's Zeb's sign. He does this. Yo, bud. If you guys see Yo, bud t-shirts, it's actually trademarked his saying.
Which is a lot with him.
It's Yo, bud. So if I ever answer the call, Eddie, and you're like, hey, Todd, what are you doing? I say, Yo, bud. It's custom Zeb. I don't know.
Let's just say every time I'm around Tyler, there's a lot of this going on.
So then, obviously, there's a couple. You got Kansas and Philadelphia. The other teams haven't been announced. What determined what cities get a team? Is it just where you got interest from that they were based out of?
People paid.
Yeah.
Stop. No, Zeb plays too much on these media calls. So I will say that Ohio is the next team to be announced. If it's not announced tonight, it'll be announced tomorrow morning. Which, if I know by the time that this launches, people will see Ohio then. So what determines where we sell out, where we partner with, really? Everything has to be kind of Kansas and East this year, right? Travel cost is huge, right? I know Zeb goes, hey, I'll fly you from California. A lot of other teams aren't going to fly you from California every match, right? So
listen, I said he had to be a stud.
Yeah, he said he had to be a stud. Okay,
I'm not flying you from California.
No, so everybody kind of wants to keep it relatively east of the Mississippi. Year 2 is not going to be any different. So the teams that are coming in 2024 are going to be Kansas and East, Texas and East, right? So trying to fill up this eastern seaboard so we can get better travel costs instead of having travel 6 hours minimum per team, right? And that's a good travel distance. Some teams are a good 12-hour drives, if not more.
And I don't even like to fly.
Yeah,
I don't like to fly, so I'm going to have a John Madden bus.
Yeah, he's going to put some cool stuff together. We've got lucky because Wichita, Kansas is actually pretty cheap to go to because nobody wants to go there except for cornhole teams. But I love Kansas. I'm going to be in Kansas later this week for our media event, so it's going to be fantastic, and it's a great community.
Philadelphia already forfeited those games, just so you know.
No, we're not forfeiting those games. But what determines it? But the other piece that determines that, not just locational, but is the partners that we have out of there. Obviously we would have loved to have had, I'll tell you who we don't have this year. We don't have Tennessee. We don't have Kentucky. Got close to Kentucky, but we don't have Kentucky. We don't have Indiana. That's for legal reasons. Franchise.
Why are we talking about people we don't have?
So we have,
we don't have. Let's talk about who we have.
All right, I got you. I can't talk about who we all have, Zeb. They all got.
I hear you, but you can talk about me.
I could. All right, so Zeb is amazing. He's the only one that matters. It's Philadelphia.
No, it's not that. We got to wake the people up, man. We got to get the people juice.
Right? They're full of number 2s out in Philadelphia. They lost in the Super Bowl. They lost in the USFL Championship.
Go.
They couldn't even make. Didn't they lose the World Series?
Why do you have to do that to me? Why do you have to bring
it's
this
a
up?
rough year.
And not even for the reasons that you're thinking about. I mean, come on. I just calmed down at it. A nice cocktail before I came on. I'm going to need another one dealing with you. So
there's going to be another riot for every time I come into town. Now it's going to be boycott Commissioner Scott.
Philly is a beautiful place to be, and we're going to shine such a great light on Philly. All those throwing snowballs. It's so old, man. We've moved on from that.
How we got Zeb, right? Zeb Campagna was one of our first ones we talked to, and it's just
one of your first ones. I thought I was the first.
So that's what determines.
Sure. So then
he was the first one that we got.
So with the franchise league and a good explanation of parent company, daughter company per se. So are those teams then all going to garner their own sponsors to cover their own costs, and then will the MLC as an overarching company have do you guys have sponsors as a big company to help with other things as well? Or is it all kind of going to be on the team basis for the?
So what we've done for every team is a good point, right? We're not trying to be overarching. So Zeb has to be able to sell his title. He's got to be able to sell his platinum, and he's got to sell his big stuff. And regionally based sponsors is why the MLC works. It's because we're not just going after Coke and Skechers and Mike's or Bush Beans, the ones that you recognize. Zeb's going after those companies that mean something to Philly, that means something to his region. Sure. But to not overstep our bounds is the MLC, because there's a perfect, it's a parent-daughter relationship, but it's also, a give and take, right? I don't want to fill his stadium area up with a bunch of our sponsors.
Right.
So what we do is, because that's his way of producing money to pay players. That's his way to pay players bigger salaries next year, to increase his sponsors. What we do is the MLC sells only one corporate partnership, MLC presented by blank. And we are in the talks of sealing a few of those deals now.
Sure.
Few prospects. But we sell only one. So anywhere you see MLC, it's presented by one. So if if our logo's in the middle of the court, it's just that. So that way every team can have their ability to generate revenue.
Sure. Okay.
Massive.
That makes sense. In terms of player payment, actually, I don't want to skip this one first. With sponsors, the big thing to garner sponsors is exposure. They want, they're not just giving you money to give you money. They want to be able to make money from marketing. What are the plans for broadcasting or getting this, basically the eyes on the event? Like, how are you going to, other than in-person sales, is there going to be a way to watch this in some way?
Yeah. So, we're working a lot of avenues to make this happen, as much as like for every local team to have streaming, to have every local team recorded, but on the professional national level, there is plans for a national broadcast at the championship event, which is all you can really ask for year one, right? A year one, most broadcasters are going to ask what's your history? Right. We don't have any. What's your exposure? We don't have any, right? Because we don't know what that exposure might be yet. So we've already had conversations, and we already have a lockdown date for the date and time for our national broadcast. And it will, until we have everything signed and done, I'll hold off on the announcement. But absolutely, we want our championship, like actual championship, not just invitational, but the final match will be a broadcasted event.
Okay. In terms of player payments, so obviously, like Zeb says, you're not going to get out of bed if you're not making money, right? But so players, if you earn your spot on the team, you're coming out. This is like going to be what you're going to do. Is it going to be like an NFL, like a set salary? You sign a contract for a set amount per year. Is it going to be different based on the skill level of the player? Is that completely up to the team? Is there a league minimum? Like what should players be expecting when it comes from? Like, are they playing for prize money? Like, obviously, cornhole has kind of been in the past, hey, you pay an entry fee, you win the tournament, you get X money, X amount your entry fee, right? This is obviously different. It's more of an employee-employer relationship with a sporting team. How is that going to be working for incentives or for player payment?
So I'll answer initially, and then I'll hit it over to Zeb to see what his plans are, because it is up to the team. Right. It is up to the team owner. What I can say from the national point of view, from the corporate office point of view, is we do, we want every team to negotiate good deals. We want every player to understand that this is a year one budget, right? So are we going to offer you $10,000 to play one game, win or lose? No, we're not going to do that. But are we going to offer you several $100s, if not $1,000 or more, around that range? Depend on the stud, right? Zeb says depend on the stud. That's very possible. We're paying for all travel and all lodging, which takes, you're looking at, on the average player throughout the league, you're looking at a $500 investment per player. Right. So And that's if, you're just going short term. The longer ones are going to be a little bit more. What we found is that with that in an actual investment, you're getting about 500, and then you have the additional what you take home, and then if there's a food stipend or whatnot. The MLC mandates travel, lodging, and pay. Now, as we get together as a league, more than likely we'll have a set minimum. We're not going to say no, but but we're not going to let you get paid $10 for the event or for free. We're not going to let you work for free because that looks the MLC bad. Right. Makes the MLC look bad. But what we're at the same time is, no, they're not going to go for free, Zeb. We don't
want you looking bad.
No, I'll tell you what. Out of all the owners, Zeb and the Philadelphia team are actually the most.
And Dominic.
Zeb and Dominic are probably the most likely to throw stacks at you. So if you're from Philly, that's the combine. But yeah, but that's what our corporate take is on it. And I know that a lot of players in the ACL or the ACO or who do a lot of like amateur professionals, you know what I mean? Like who love to just play all over the place. Travel is a huge expense. It's tasking. And Corbin, as you probably know, getting your own sponsors is tasking because you have the same players going after the same companies for sponsorship. And what I've seen over the last 2 years is that big bag companies and other stuff are decreasing the amount of players that they're sponsoring. So, and they're kind of focusing on their shiners. So in this scenario, you come to the MLC, you may not get the chance year one to be like a Trey Birchfield or a Mark Richards with a, 6-figure contract with the ACL. But that bottom 90% that's, trying to just break even to be a pro, the MLC, you don't have to break even. Once you sign with the MLC, you're taken care of. And we only have matches on Saturdays. So you don't have to quit your day job. You don't have to, travel on Fridays unless it's, Zeb, putting you in the back of a van and taking you 18 hours of Kansas. Other than that, you're going to be taken care of and you're going to know a way ahead of time. So it's going to be good stuff. Zeb, what is your thoughts?
I don't even know what to say at this point. You said it all.
I do that. What are your thoughts on how you're gonna approach appealing to the players that pay wise?
I'm gonna try to do what I do in my other business, try to get people to work for nothing.
Oh Jesus, stop! He's kidding. He's kidding everybody. He's too much sarcasm.
I think they know I'm kidding, Tyler. You got to tell people you're kidding.
You'd be surprised the hate mail that I get sometimes.
The internet's a crazy place.
The internet's a crazy place. All they'll do is they'll take that one little clip and replay it over and over.
Guess what?
They'll be like, "This is why the MLC will never work."
Yeah,
they can take whatever clip they want.
Shaking his head. Yes, he's going. Yep, I know that.
They do it to us all the time.
I'm editing the clip right now. Actually.
For me, I'm glad I don't really listen to that noise. I just don't,
But what are your plans? What do you think? Well, just what are you thinking off the top of your head?
So, what he said, I don't want to put a number on what guys could make. I mean, like I said, it's ever evolving, and this year, we are going to play per game. The dollar amount, I don't want to come out here and mislead anyone. Sure. We're going to pay good. I don't know what that looks like right this second. I mean, to pay a few $1,000s for like a stud, I don't know what that's going to look like year one. I just don't. So I don't want to mislead anyone, but I can tell you we want the best, and like I said, coming from Philadelphia, born and raised, me and Dominic, we want to win. Two types of people in the world, right? Winners and losers. We want to be on the winning side. We always have. So, we just hope that everyone that comes out is going to understand that it's going to evolve, that next year might not look like this year. But it's going to be better, and it's going to continue to keep getting better and better and grow as we grow. TV contracts. Listen, I don't want to get ahead of myself. We got a lot of great stuff in the works, and I'll just leave it at that. Partnerships, I have some talks with some really big ones. I landed Live. That's a sponsorship. Live from the minute I walked in there and I met Robert, he saw the vision. His owner saw the vision. And there was really nothing left to say but getting to work. And we got to work and we got a lot of good stuff ahead. you're going to need to come out to live May 6th to see exactly what it's all about. But I don't think anyone's going to be disappointed. And if they are, I'll just say Tyler did it.
So then,
gentlemen,
obviously in like an NFL, NBA perspective, right? Let's say, LeBron signs a deal, people hear about 5 years, X dollars, right? Even though it doesn't matter what the numbers are, if they're low, high, whatever, first year, that kind of thing, is there at least going to be some form of transparency after players are signed? Is it okay for them to talk to people about what's going on? Is that
Absolutely. Listen,
okay.
In life, transparency is the only way to be.
Right.
I always said when I started, me and my wife, we started a trucking company 7 years ago. And I always told her, I said, I never want to look behind my back. I just don't. Everything's going to be above board. Someone wants to know what someone makes. If he makes a lot of money, guess what? Get better. I tell my kids all the time, you want to be the best? Go work. We have a platform now. Guys want to come over. They want to be big time. They want to be on TV. Well, we'll see what happens.
Sure. So then let's go go ahead, Tyler.
And one more caveat. I will tell you what, and that's straight from an owner himself. And then what I advise all owners is there's two ways to do contracts, right? You can pay players because there's so many different positions, right? As we talked about, there's a doubles position and singles. That might be fluent. You might start as a doubles player in the beginning of the year, and they might go, wow, you're actually a better singles player than I thought, and move you into the singles. So, and obviously, if you're the number one singles player, you're playing for 6 match points instead of 2 with a partner. So that might, in your mind, in my mind, say, well, I should get paid more.
Right.
So there's 2 ways to pay a player in the MLC. One, you can pay them a set amount no matter what place they play at. So if they play, for example, let's just say it's, I'm paying you $500 to show up. Yeah. And then if you play first singles, you play first singles. If you play second doubles, you play second doubles, but you get paid the same.
Sure.
Or the second route is, hey, if you play second doubles, I'll pay you $200. But if you play first singles, I'll pay you $1,000, $1,500.
Right.
So there's that escalation of tension and escalation of pay. So an escalation of talent, which each team owner can take it how they want. They can take it one way with every team, or their whole team, or different players, and how they work out those contracts. I know another owner has said that he's talked to many players before his combine has ever taken place, right? They're reaching out to him and they're saying, hey, and they'd say, listen, get me on your team. I'll do it for $200 a spot. I don't care. I don't have to pay for sponsors. I don't have to pay for travel. And that's how starved this industry is for
Correct. I agree.
Just trying to get out there and trying to get paid. So I don't think there's going to be any problem. But at the same time, we want to be fair. We want to pay people what their value is. But at this, in year one, I think Zeb was trying to get to is, we don't know what everybody's market cap's going to be. Right. Philadelphia could have a $500,000 market cap, but they don't know it yet. They, in Ohio could have a $120,000 market cap. We just don't know what they have to pay players. So at the end of year one, I've told every owner I want them to sign 1-year contracts with every player, because year 2, that combine is going to be massive. And then they're going to actually be able to put that pay scale ahead of the combine. They're going to say, listen, I know what I made last year. I know what I'm expected to make year 2. And this is how much I know I can pay players. And then they can let the salary or expectations be ahead of it in advance for the combine, and let people really get competitive for year 2 and really represent themselves.
Yeah, and I would say, the main reason I wanted to do this podcast and the Bag Alliance, which we're going to talk about here in a second, is because, I believe that it personally can work, just because, I talk to a lot of people that are very, very good, that aren't pros, that I'm like, hey, if you were good enough that they would pay your travel and play a tournament and their league was nobodycaresleague.com, would you play in it? Yep. It's just because there's just not, there's only 250 pros, right, in the ACL, and there's way more than 250. How many times you go to a blind draw and there's one dude that wins every single time and no one's ever heard of him, and he just lives in bumfuck nowhere, right? It's just there's so many good players that nobody knows about, which is why I think it can work. The bag, which is why going into the Alliance, that I with my bag company joined the Alliance pretty quick. I was like, it seems like I want to be in this early because I feel like this is going to explode, and I want to be in at the beginning. But
that's a good call. You
made the right move. Smart man.
So
hey, by the way, Eddie,
smart man.
Zeb is looking for a bag manufacturer.
We'll talk.
We'll talk.
Listen, I know what the Philly market brings. I know what kind of fans we have here. Very passionate. So we'll talk.
I'll have to send you my Eagles design that I dropped last week. They're pretty sweet.
Listen, I'll just leave you this little caveat. I have some things that'll go on the board that I think will be mind popping for people.
Which is good. So let's talk a little bit.
We'll leave it at that.
Let's talk a little bit about the Bag Alliance. So, what bags are players allowed or going to throw, and how is that going to be determined? So obviously, like depending on how much, a lot of the listeners might know a lot about bags, depending on how much anybody else doesn't know about bags. Let's listen to this. A lot of companies, let's say the BGs of the world, have the really bouncy carpet bags, right? And some companies just don't make that bag. They make like mid-speed to fast-speed, slower, or like thinner bags, not that bouncy, rolly kind of bag. So when you're picking a company, how is that going to be determined, and then how is those players going to be affected with that bag choice or with the company choice?
So what I will say is because how you approach bag companies in this industry is huge, right? It's like how you approach rackets and tennis, right? Everybody has their preferred. What I will say is this: I'm not creating a stamp, right? So no stamp. There's no you have to pay me to get in front of the teams. I don't want that. I want a free and open market. I want Sub-Zero bags to be able to go to Zeb Campagna and say, hey, I want to be in your market. And if somebody else wants to be in his market, there was like, hey, I'll also throw this on top of it. And then have that natural capitalistic progression with deals and markets the way it should be.
Sure.
I shouldn't be overarching.
Exactly the way it should be.
Exactly. I shouldn't be taxing you to get you for the hopes of selling bags. How many bag stamps are there out there? And people just buy these stamps with the hopes of competing with Ultra, Lucky, Reynolds, BG, which are dominating in the market. There's a lot of lower bag companies who pay for these stamps that just aren't getting that return.
Correct.
So in this scenario, by matching yourself with Zeb Campagna and the Philadelphia Bell Ringers or whoever team you match yourself with, you're getting exclusivity, right? You're gonna be the only bag partner of that team, and if that player wants to play on the Bell Ringers team, they're going to use the bags that they're supposed to use, that they're going to have to use, which they're going to be home and away bags, which is going to be really cool, right? A home and away bags, for where you're at. But it's just a part of whatever type of partnership you guys come to. If Eddie, you do partner with Zeb, you could say, all right, I'm going to offer you 6 different speed options. And you're going to put it on his website. These are the speed options for this Philadelphia Bell Ringers. Their designs are pretty just kind of about their team, but you could buy an option 1 through 6. You could have a carpet bag, not carpet bag, and whatever you guys do. And when people play with it, like if you play at Philadelphia Bell Ringer as a Philadelphia Bell Ringer, you've got to use those bags. So if you go to any sort of other outside, I know Zeb is huge into working with the community and doing events outside of just matches. If you want to go and compete, then you need to be within that market, and you need to compete with Philadelphia Bell Ringer bags or a version of it in the approved MLC alliance, I suppose. But there's alliance companies, and then there's approved bags. Approved to get your bag approved with MLC. We don't require any money. We don't require any percentage of your net sales. We don't require any of that. All you got to do is send us a set of bags. Our director of products will be like, all right, this meets qualification. And then we sign you off as an approved bag company. I mean, is that not how things should work? Right. It's the common sense answer for the industry that I think has been taken advantage of for years.
Sure. And I guess Zeb, this is a question for you then as a team owner, right? So as a bag company in the alliance, me, somebody else, anybody approved bag maker, they're coming to you like, hey, I want to be the bag company of Philly. What is the team's expectation, or what is your expectation from that company to provide? And then what is your expectation that you are going to provide?
Yeah, so I mean, I'm big into individuality, right? So, and I love small business. So, I love the opportunity for smaller companies to come in and show us what they have. We want to make a statement. We want to put fresh, whole, exactly what's going on in our community, on our boards, on our bags. So it is important, especially for us in Philly, to have that, it's a Philly thing, man. That's all I can say. You got to be from Philly to understand it, but the relationships and partnerships, first and foremost, are based upon trust. So they're going to be hopefully long-term relationships that we're going to build. I'm not looking for like a 1 year hit it and, let's look for someone else. It's like, I want long-term.
Sure.
And the MLC wants long-term.
Right. Yeah. And then my question from there comes from, I guess, Tyler, too, for any of the teams. Is it, is the thought process then a bag company, if they're coming in a sponsor team, they're providing all, they're providing all of them free of charge, or then they're giving, or is there how, I'm just trying to figure out the relationship between the company and the bag company, right?
Yeah, we would, I've mentioned this in the past. I don't ever want to not, and I do the same thing with venues, right? I never want to assume that that you shouldn't make money, that it's about us. It's not about us. And just like Zeb said, it's about a partnership. It's about long-term partnership. How do you build long-term relationships? Honesty, right? And compromise. So if, obviously we're going to have to mark up our bags. Mm-hmm. Yep, transparency. Obviously, we're going to have to mark up our bags a little bit to adjust for those costs. But if you want to get, let's say, Eddie, what do you sell your bags retail for?
90.
So what you would do, and I know the profit margin because I've been in the industry a while, so I won't say it out loud. But so let's say you give Zeb a certain price, and then Zeb now has to sell it for 110.
Right.
That's still within bag industry, the bag standard market, right? You can still sell for 110, 120, and people will buy it. People will go for it, but you have to so you can get paid, right? You may not make as much if it came from you, but you're getting more in volume by getting with the bag company or with the team by having exclusivity, like these are your bags and boom, boom, boom. They don't want nothing for free, even with, or I don't want you to get anything for free. And neither does me or any of the me or any of the owners. I'm sorry, I start talking too much. So with Ryan, Gutenkopf, Corbin, right? Great guy. I've never asked him for anything for free. He actually provided a sample of boards to us, for free, which I didn't know he was going to. And, but I tell him every time, I was like, anytime you want something, just charge me. Just charge me, dog. I'm not trying. We have an agreement on a certain price for his stuff, and I'll pay him, because he deserves the work, and you would deserve to get paid for what you do, and you provide a service, and Zeb provides the exposure. So you need to work together and be able to if you guys support each other and get it out to the community, then you both win in this scenario.
Right. Okay, cool.
Yeah. Tyler, I got something for you, Tyler.
Absolutely.
If you don't mind. Sorry. So let's say Eddie gets with Zeb, right? Zeb loves his bags for some reason. I don't know why he would.
Fuck you.
That sounded weird.
Fuck you, man.
That sounded really weird.
Well, it comes out funny sometimes. So let's say Zeb partners with Eddie, right? Is Eddie able to partner with any other location, or is he only locked in with Zeb? Because say Kansas City, or you said there's going to be a team in Ohio, say they get wind of Eddie's bags. They're like, wow, these are really good. We really like these bags. Could Eddie have multiple cities that he signed with, or is it like only one per, and that's what you got to stick with?
No, it's an open market. If you want to go to multiple teams, what I'm trying not to do, and believe me, an offer came across my desk. Zeb's laughing already because we had a whole argument about it. We had a whole sellout. He's like, he called me a sellout when a company wanted to own all the products.
The one thing about me, gentlemen, is I say it like it is. And there's no. I don't mean to be offensive to anyone. I just call out injustices, and I just thought, it's way too early for us to be selling out to anyone. We have a bright future.
So Zeb, and we're not going that route anymore. But but in this scenario, like if a big company comes to me and says, I want to own all the products in the MLC, I don't want to do that, right? Not only would you have to pay an enormous amount.
Yes, how much?
No, yes. Zeb, we're not saying
done.
We're not saying that. We're not doing. We're not.
I know we're not, Tyler.
So, but obviously it would be a lot. But I have the best interest of the league in mind. We're laughing. So guys, I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
I'm just going back to the 200 arguments we had.
I have the best interest of the league.
Of the he's like, he calls me, you better not do it. I'm like, I was like and then his partner gets on him. Tyler does it. I swear he's selling.
Listen, this is, we have no.
but anyway, and then I actually had another partner. His name is Christian Murray. If I don't know if you guys know who Christian Murray is, he's a minority, very small minority owner of the MLC. And because he provides all of the websites, he provides all of that kind of support. And when he came to me and he said, Tyler, he was like, one of the things that makes the MLC magical is that we are making the bag industry the way it should have been. So in this scenario, which Zeb's not right all the time, but he was right in this scenario that, we will allow we will allow Eddie to broker a deal with every team in the league if that's what happens. But I will never, for the wrong price, I'm just kidding.
Everyone's got their foods on, man.
I will never, as commissioner of the MLC, and Zeb won't let me in any of our league meetings, mandate a certain manufacturer for everybody. Even for Ryan, I said Ryan Gutenkopf is the Cornhole Cave, right? They produce the official board and scoring tower manufacturer for the MLC. That's MLC corporate. And right now he's signed with at least, I believe, about 4 teams already. But he has to broker those deals individually.
Right.
And every team has to go and work out that. Now, I want him at a certain price, right? Because I've already negotiated the preset price with Ryan. But Ryan's a great guy. He does, what he says he's going to do, and he does good work. At the same time, I cannot tell Zeb, as he owns his own company. I know it's a parent and daughter company relationship, but Zeb has full right to say, I want to use these boards or I want to use these bags. And I'm not going to tell him what to do. All I can say is that they have to be within these standards because that represents the MLC. Other than that, he has to broker his own deals.
All right, cool. Let's talk about then, since you're talking about Cornhole, okay, let's talk about the MLC branded bags. So these ones are the ones that are listed on your website. Very similar to go buy a jersey, go buy a shirt kind of thing. It's you're getting in, you watch the stream, watch the event, and you're like, where can I get just a set of bags? You got these up online. I would say super, super high quality bags. So we'll talk about these 2 options that you sent me real quick. There'll be full reviews coming out on these in the future as well, but we want to make sure we at least get a spotlight on them for you guys on the website. But the faster bag, you're looking at like a 6.9 Pro Sniper, similar speeds, small disc fill, and then the carpet bag is your Viking Materials 4/7 speeds with a round bead fill. So, and then I think you have 2 or 3 other speed options on your website.
We have a total of 4 speeds.
Total of 4 speeds. So, and they don't have individual names. They're based on like speed 1, speed 2, right? Is how you guys list it. So which ones were these speed wise? Is this speed 1, the slow carpet?
That's speed 1. That's like a 4. It's like a 4.8, 4.7. Yeah, 4.7, 4.8. And in that one, I think you're about spot on. I think it was like a 6.9, 6.9, 6.8, I believe, something like that. So, but either or, right? So,
but if they went to your website, you're looking at like they're called the Speed 1, and these are like the Speed 3, or which ones?
Yeah. You do Speed 1, Speed 3. When you go to the website and you go to any of the bags, the very last image of all the bag colors, because I'll just show up one there. You got that in like green, and you got it in like another color. Right. Obviously blue, and then at the end of looking at all the different color options, you see the speed rating. So you can't even add it to the cart without selecting the speed rating.
Sure. Okay.
So and it's really good. Speed 1 option is and I think we even outlined it, is the carpet bag, which is the.
Okay. And then what's the price point on these on your website?
So you're looking at about 120, which I think it's about $15 in shipping. So we're trying to do better on shipping. Shipping is actually not bad for our scoring tower and our bags, which is about normal, $15 for shipping pretty much anywhere in the country because it's out of Kansas. So if you're buying on West Coast or East Coast, it's about the same. When you look at our boards, though, we are trying to bring that down significantly. We're sitting a little bit over average, but it's a work in progress. Obviously we want high quality bags. Obviously we need high quality bags because we can't. I know a lot of people say we're competing with the ACL. We're not. We're not competing with the ACL at all. But at the same time, we need to they set a standard, and them and the ACO set a standard for how professional products should be, and people understand that. So we need to be able to match those standards, not to try and steal it, but to utilize it. And for the MLC corporate bags and the MLC corporate boards, that's strictly for fans. Right. The real stuff that matters is the team product. So if you want team bags and team boards, that's really where it's at.
Right.
So that's what we're looking for.
And if we'll talk about bag shipping, I'll give you the cheat codes on bag
Oh,
shipping.
he'll give me the cheat. Hey, Zeb, he's a great guy. Partner with him.
I'll give you the cheat codes. Don't worry. But then, so let's finish off with the schedules. You said it's starting May 6th, you said, right? May 6th, and it goes till August 5th.
Good or bad, we are launching May 6th, one way or another.
When obviously it's going to be team specific, but when should be the general time frame we should be seeing stuff about the combines or seeing information or planning on those events kind of happening? Is there a specific?
Oh yeah, all combines should be publicly marketed by March 1st, right? We should have a public marketing scheme for every combine by March 1st.
Okay, awesome.
At this point, and then all combines will be in April. So all of it, unless something changes, they should all be in April, no matter if it's Ohio.
I'll let you know.
Zeb's like, I'll let you know. I'm gonna do it next week, and if you ain't there, you're out. I'm giving you a 2-day notice. You don't really care about this city or this sport if you ain't there. He's like, I know what I have.
And there's obviously going to be like team specific websites and Facebook pages, I assume. But is there going to be a centralized hub similar to like the I Play ACL website where there's going to be all this information, the schedule, everything? Does the MLC website, is it going to have all the information we could find?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I mean, it's obviously because we're launching all the teams publicly, we can't put out the schedule right now, this second, because we don't want to launch it. Oh, look who's on the schedule, give a bit of a preview. We want to give everybody their own spotlight, but at the same time, by March 3rd, March 7th, the whole schedule, everybody's schedule will be online. They'll be on their own websites. The schedule's already made, so it's already set in stone. And it's, yeah, so it'll start May 6th. Philadelphia, spoiler alert, will have a home event versus the Ohio Riders. So Ohio Riders will be facing off with Philadelphia Bell Ringers May 6th at Live Casino.
If we lose, I may retire.
We're done. Chalk it up, guys.
I might just get up and walk out.
Chalk it up.
I mean, hey, good comeback story. That's the whole thing about hey, Rocky Balboa lost the first time.
Stop with Rocky, man.
All right. No, not Rocky. Okay. He's southpaw. Anyway, so I know that's going to be there because there's only 6 teams. You're going to have 3 matches a week throughout the country. So you'll have that. I know Kansas has a game, and then the other game is one of the teams that's not announced yet.
Sure.
So, but yeah, it'll be back and forth. Everybody has their schedules, and it'll end August 5th. We had to do August 5th because that national broadcast that I talked about earlier that I didn't talk about too much.
Right.
We have a schedule with them.
Sure.
And in order to meet that schedule without going too far into the football season, because I don't want to compete with football, and I can't. I couldn't if I wanted to. We have to have it in August. So that's the important point. And we also want to give people a few weeks after the season ends to say, all right, this is the event. Make sure everybody plans, give them a 2 to 3 week buffer and say, hey, be out here for this event. We'll have a room block. We're going to have some great stuff out. I mean, it's about the event. I mean, Zeb's going to require a red carpet for him to show up. I know, and we'll have Eddie and all the, all the bag manufacturers and all the key players in the industry. And Elton John, if you ever hear this, please reach out to me. I
just wanted to say one thing real quick.
So bad. I don't care if he costs me $2.5 million for an hour. I want Elton John.
I want to make one point real quick. Yeah, if you don't mind. But back to what you're talking about paying players. Like I just want everyone to know that we're hoping that as the years go on, it might look different team to team at first, but we're hoping to have some type of uniformity down the road where stud players are going to be like they are now in any league. There's a certain number. So there's a lot of great things to come, and I think everyone should stay tuned and be very tentative when it comes on.
Right. So then Tyler, so obviously there's 3 games on a Saturday, 3 home games with 6 teams. Is it going to be like one's at noon, one's at 3, one's at 6? You can make sure you can see the whole stream, or are they all going to be at the same time, or what's the
year one? Because we're not going to have any sort of broadcasting,
Sure.
at the same time. We're all doing them at 6 p.m.
Okay.
Every event will start at 6 p.m. except for the championship event. Obviously, that'll be a little bit different. But but everyone will be at 6 p.m. on a Saturday. That gives teams the ability to travel early in the morning if they're relatively close. And then that'll also give home teams the ability to host, like start the day at like 12. So we're going to have vendors. We're going to have amateur tournaments happening, come out and have a good time and be a part of the community. We're going to have that stuff kind of like a tailgating feel leading up to the actual event. We're going to have live, not live. We might have live, but we have to have loud music. Right. We're going to have concessions.
We're going to have some live performances in Philly. Don't you worry about that.
There's going to be some live performances.
I've already been on the phone and we're working it. Yeah. It's going to be
everybody. Zeb doesn't tell me this. He's all about transparency, but he doesn't tell me about his freestyle rappers that he contracts for these events.
There's some great talent.
And then I guess my last question for you, Tyler, is if you had to pin it on like one thing, what do you think is the key to this succeeding?
Zeb.
I mean, it would be the owners for sure. Right. Like Zeb said in the beginning, I got us here. Right. And not me, but our staff got us here. The corporate staff got us here.
Absolutely.
Now the ball is in Zeb's hands. It's in Kansas's owners, Tim and Alonzo's hands. It's in Ohio's, Terry Siegfried's hands. It's in everybody's hands to do and to fulfill their end of their agreement, which is, do what our plan is. And I'm here to help them every step of the way. But without teams, a league is not a league without teams. And teams, if you have a 1 week team, if you have one team that can't perform, then you have a team that can't make it to that game. And what does that do to the other team? It becomes a snowball effect of inconsistency. So I would say, to sum it up in one thing for success, it'd be the team owners. But at the same time, it's also how the community reacts. I really don't like this rhetoric of, it's them or us, or it's, I saw after we announced.
Why do you talk about that stuff? Like, it's a non-conversation.
Zeb.
Why?
So what I'm saying, I just don't like that rhetoric, because we're here to unify everyone. We're here to be about everyone, the community. And are we not about the community, Zeb?
Yeah, but there's no rhetoric. Like, so everyone's doing their thing, man. We wish nothing but the best for everyone.
I'm not talking, Zeb. I'm not talking about the other leagues. I'm talking about players in general. I just, we're here for everybody, and that's what we're here for. So
cool. Corbin, you got anything?
Almost everyone.
If you guys haven't noticed, me and Zeb have a very, lovely relationship. There's not a better, call it like it is. There's not a better person I would ever partner with in business in this industry. And I told him many times, if I could have 28 Zeb Campagnas, I would, because I'd spend all day arguing with him on the phone, every single one of them. But
I appreciate the nice words, Tyler.
But when you argue with somebody, and I always, that means they're passionate. Nobody's more passionate than Zeb Campagna. Nobody's more passionate than him and his partner to make something happen.
Right.
And that's why I invited him on this podcast today, because the other owners are passionate. Yeah, they're working hard, but there's something. I don't know. I guess you could sum it up to it's a Philly thing. And
I know. And I also think people need a break from hearing you talk. So that's why you brought me on.
I'm out, everybody. Right. I'm out.
All right. Well, I really appreciate you guys hopping on for this call. I think there's a lot of information that people have been wondering about. I think this is a lot more put together than I think anyone realizes that it is. I think
really put together.
I think a lot of people think it's just like a Facebook thing that just gets posted once in a while. People are like, I don't know what that is, but it's there's a lot more work that's gone in the back end. A lot of passionate people about it. I, for one, am way more convinced after hearing a lot of the information than I was going into it. I still believed in it, but I didn't understand the amount of work that's gone into it so far. So I think
tons of work.
Yeah,
there's so much work going on behind the scenes. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, and I definitely think you guys have the right stance for success. And I think there's plenty of player base and plenty of really good player base that would be totally willing to make the jump to play for something else and try something new. I mean, I would say cornhole as a huge event is still in an infancy. I mean, we just hit ESPN like a year ago or 2 years ago. I mean, it's so small in what it could be, and like similar to pickleball, could blow up just as quickly as an accessible activity for anyone of any age and any size or physical ability. So really appreciate you guys joining us today. Everyone listening, if you made it this far, appreciate you guys constant support of the podcast and hope you guys enjoy this information. Check out, what's the website? mlccornhole.com.
Yes, mlcornhole.com.
mlcornhole.com. Check out mlcornhole.com.
Stay tuned, everyone.
And stay tuned for all the announcements coming out. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day and rest of your week. And we'll catch you guys in the next one. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.